more on this story, we can bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. Philip, good to see you as always. Now, why are French nationals so frequently being kidnapped in the region?
I think there are a couple of reasons that can explain this, Delano. The first one is that any hostage in that region, be it a hostage of Malian or Burkinabe origin, is always seen as a potential source of income by these groups. The more that a hostage comes from far away, the bigger the potential income will be, or the possibility that that hostage will lead to the release when they're freed of jailed jihadists by the local authorities. So there is a huge bargaining chip involved in taking hostages, which, if you look at it, really, a Western hostage in this area is seen as a walking money safe for these jihadist groups. So it's all in their interest because they need financing to take these hostages to try to get money, and if they can't get money, to get other jihadists freed from jail. And the second point is France is perceived in many cases as being a threat because it has its Barkhane force based in the region, up to 5,000 men who were sent there as part of a regional group, which also involves other countries from Europe, principally to fight against jihadist groups. So there is a feeling amongst the jihadist groups that they want to pay France back and take as many hostages as they can. And I think France is also perceived as being an anti-Muslim country. If you think about some of the laws that have been passed here over the so-called banning of the burqa and things like that, it's perceived as a country that is not friendly towards Muslims, and that also has irritated these groups and made France more of a target.
Now, France isn't the only country with hostages in the region, is it?
No, it's not. And going back to those hostages, again, there are several hostages from other nations around the world, some of whom have been in captivity for many years. There are at least 6 that we know of. One from Switzerland, Colombia, an 80-year-old man from Australia who is kidnapped in Burkina Faso, a Romanian man who's been kidnapped since 2015, also in Burkina Faso, a US aid worker in Niger, and another German aid worker also in Niger. These hostages are all waiting for some kind of negotiated settlement to get them out. They don't always get out alive. Many hostages end up being killed. But it's not only the Western hostages who are suffering as a result of this. There's also much suffering on the ground. If you think about how the local population in these areas is suffering because some of them are taken hostage too. And when they're not taken hostage, there are quite often attacks against villages where it is deemed that some of the population are helping the local authorities, so jihadist groups will go in there and kill as many people as they can, and that leads to thousands of people being displaced. So there is a huge amount of suffering as a result of what has been going on in those countries.
Philip, thank you very much for that. Philip Turl there.